The Elves and the Shoemaker. The poor shoemaker gave a deep sigh. Since the big shoe factory opened up in town, people had stopped coming to his little workshop. With these circumstances, the shoemaker could not afford to buy any more leather. He cut out the shapes of the shoes and laid the pieces on the workbench. Now there was just enough left to make one more pair of shoes. "I will sew them together tomorrow," he said, and went to sleep. When the shoemaker came downstairs in the morning, he rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Lying there on the workbench was a perfect pair of finished shoes. "I wonder how they got there," he muttered. The stitches were the tiniest he had ever seen, and every single one was as neat as could be. How strange. I must still be dreaming. A few minutes later, the bell rang and an elegantly dressed gentleman walked in. "I would like to try on those magnificent shoes." The shoes were a perfect fit for him. It was as if they were made for him. "I will take them," he declared, and he paid for them at once. With the money, the shoemaker was able to buy leather for 2 more pair of shoes. That evening, he cut out the shapes of the new shoes. But after all the excitement, he was exhausted. "Why don't you finish them in the morning?" his wife said. "Good idea," said the shoemaker, and he and his wife went happily to bed. The next morning, the shoemaker found more shoes waiting for him. "Goodness me," he exclaimed. "They are even better than the first pair." No sooner had he put them in the window than they caught the attention of a bunch of people. "We want shoes, we want shoes, we want shoes." They were shouting from outside. One evening, as they were closing up the workshop, the shoemaker's wife asked, "Who do you think is helping us?" "I have wondering the same thing," said the shoemaker. "Let's stay up tonight and see." Just as the clock struck midnight, the door swung open and 2 little people, no higher than the shoemaker's knee, ran in. Everything makes sense now. Of course they were elves. I should have guessed from those tiny stitches. In no time at all, the 2 elves had made a beautiful pair of shoes. They hammered and polished the shoes until they shone. "I think we can make some new clothes to the elves, as a way to say thank you." "What a splendid idea," said her husband. When midnight chimed, the elves raced in, ready to start to work. But instead of pieces of leather, they found piles of little clothes. "Magnificent," declared the first elf at last. That was the last time they saw their little helpers. But it was not the end of the fairy tale. The shoemaker continued making beautiful shoes. And he always had plenty of customers. He and his wife were never poor again.